Hello, hello. Welcome to my weekly service. I really wish I have enough internet to keep the show going today. I hope you are all fine, wherever you are, that everything is all right. Yeah, the internet seems to be working. Today, I am yet somewhere else. Actually, all year round, I experimented with changing places and being in different places and being as mobile as possible, because that's just, that's what life brought. But I realized with the summer holidays that it is actually, the summer traveling and summer holidays are different than changing places all year around and doing your thing as you're changing places, because I don't know how to explain it, but there is some decontextualization going on with summer holidays. Basically, today I was trying to make sense of it, because on Saturday I went on a little travel with my parents. We're actually road tripping. I'm road tripping with my parents. That's cool. It has its difficulties, but it's quite cool. But I was just feeling today that it is impossible to focus like I'm normally focusing, and I think this is because basically this is sea holidays. Therefore, the accommodation is quite different. Like normally, I would be going in people's houses, my friends and family, and I would always find somewhere to, I would always find a table, for instance. There would always be a table. Hello, Barış İnan. Hoş geldiniz. Welcome to my show. Like there would always be a table. A table is easy to find when you're in a normal house, but not in a summer house. In a summer house, tables, chairs, all of these things are difficult, more harder to get around by. Oh, Daniela, hello. Figen Hanım, hello. And well-made coffee, bonjour from Belgium. Bonjour to Belgium. I hope everyone is fine in their different destinations, in their different locations. I myself am in Ohrid today. It's Macedonia, North Macedonia, or the former Yugoslavian Republic of Macedonia, as it used to be called. This was part of Yugoslavia until the disintegration of Yugoslavia. And anyway, I am just road tripping with my parents, and we stopped here for a few days because Ohrid is a nice little summer town, and there is an amazing, splendid lake. The lake is amazing. I'm generally not a fan of lakes, but this one here is super. The waters feel magical. And but the thing is that it's a summer house, so a table is really hard to find. A chair is really hard to find. Now I'm sitting on this, but I feel like it can break any moment, because this chair was not made to sit on it. It was made to put your clothes on it. It's the substitute of a hanger. And when it comes to hangers and cupboards, there is not too many of them in this apartment where we're staying, because it's a holiday apartment. Oh, well-made coffee. You have been in Ohrid one time for a meeting. What kind of meeting? Who does business in Ohrid, really? I was thinking all the businesses ever done in Skopje in this country. That's how it looked like, at least. What meeting was it? And big fishes in the river. I didn't see any fish in the lake so far, but the waters are magical, they're amazing. Skopje was completely different from here. Skopje is the capital of this country, and it's closer to Turkey. When you're driving from Istanbul to here, you pass by Skopje. And it seemed very strange to me. Like I didn't really like it. It felt way too touristic. And actually, I saw in the city some kind of transformation. Not that I know how it was previously, but I saw some kind of transformation or some kind of aesthetic that I really didn't find very appealing. It was like over touristification in a way in a way that I know from the worst holiday towns of Turkey and Greece as well, but this was more like Turkey. And I think it also has to do with the Turkish capital and also capital from other Middle Eastern countries, probably the Gulf countries, that has flown into the country. And so, yeah, it had this aesthetic where if you have been to Fethiye or to Ios, Ios is a super popular holiday island in Greece where drunken young English tourists go to get wasted. And Fethiye Hisarönü is its equivalent in Turkey. So it had this aesthetic, of we came for holidays, but we want to do exactly what we are doing in our home countries, just a bit more recklessly vibe. And I didn't enjoy it so much, but Ohrid is amazing. Barış İnan, first Greece then Macedonia. You are a big fan of Alexander the Great and you want to visit first Greece and then Macedonia for Alexander the Great. That's actually an amazing subject because Alexander the Great is it's a figure that cannot be divided between Greece and Macedonia because Alexander was Macedonian, as you know, of course, since you're a fan, you would know. And since Alexander was Macedonian, and today there's a country called Macedonia, and Greece has a region called Macedonia, and actually these two Macedonias are one and the same, but today they are divided with some national frontier. So it was an issue in Greece for a long time that this country is called Macedonia, so they insisted, they gave weight in, they put their weight in for the country to change its name, so it became North Macedonia. South Macedonia is the Macedonia in Greece, and it's a big debate what ethnicity Alexander was. Since people cannot really understand that ethnicity is a rather modern invention, and Alexander would not have any ethnicity as we know it today. What language he spoke, we don't know. I don't know. And I also don't think it really matters, but anyway, Alexander, everyone wants a piece of him. I have heard discussions about whether Alexander the Great could have been Turkish, and I'm sure it is discussed whether he's Albanian or even French or Romanian for that matter. But who knows? So Well-Made Coffee, it was a Council of Europe meeting about digital competence framework many years ago. Interesting that they made it in Ohrid. Good choice, definitely. Yeah. So I'm digressing. Summer holidays, yes, I am here for holidays. Outside you can see this nice weather, some nice buildings. The architecture here is very similar to the architecture in Turkey, its modern version and it's also its ancient version. And it's a nice place. But as I said, it's getting harder and harder because summer holidays are a time when you cannot find the basic necessities of life in the place where you're staying. Because we are staying here because of its proximity to the lake. And you give and take, some things you have, some things you don't have, and a table is one of the things I don't have here. And I noticed that it's gonna continue like this, and I noticed that it's a good idea to give break to things. So this will be my last show for this season, which was my first season of doing this show. thank you very much for being here and listening to me and having listened to me at different times through the year. It will be a break until September. And in September I'll be back probably with some more spice to this thing. So Barishinan, you were saying that Alexander was not Greek, but Greeks are claiming him because he's strong. You know, when you're successful, everybody wants you, or when you're pretty, or when you're smart, everybody wants you to be from them. So yeah, not a surprise. But yeah, Alexander, I'm more interested in the fact that, you know, he was probably gay. Alexander the Great must have been gay, like most of the soldiers of his time, because a true soldier is one that loves his brothers in arms, you know, his companions in arms. Anyway, today, since, yes, it is summer and it is becoming harder and harder to concentrate, even when it doesn't feel that hot. So I don't have a subject for my speech today. I don't have a subject for this session. I'm not gonna be lecturing you about anything except for the songs that I'll be playing today, which are by Neşet Ertaş. I don't know how many of you have heard of Neşet Ertaş. He is a great folk music interpreter and composer from Central Anatolia, from the heart of Turkey, from Kırşehir. And he has some quite nice songs. I don't know how many of them are, like how many you can say that they're anonymous and how many are not. But he's a great name, so we're gonna be singing his songs today. We will start with the one that is rather fast. Yeah, so Neşet Ertaş. I'm also not going to be lecturing you about Neşet Ertaş today. I'm just using his music because he has some nice melodies. The genre is Central Anatolian. I don't know how much of it you will be able to grasp from the way I play it, because definitely none of these people were using MIDI keyboards. But we do what we can. Yeah. And so the first song of today is a love song, as most songs are. And in this song, the poet is talking about how sweet his lover is and how nice it is to kiss her. And what else does he say? Yeah, it's just, you know, the thirst cannot be quenched, or like he will never get enough of loving this person. And also he has a note about domestic violence here. He has that it is completely unacceptable to hurt the one that you love. The word he uses is a bit stronger, actually. To kill the one you love. Those who kill the ones that they love, they are not, like, they don't belong to the God. They don't belong to God, that is all of us. So it's a way of dehumanizing the perpetrators of a crime that the poet finds completely unacceptable. Yeah. Tatlı dile güler yüze. Tatlı dile güler yüze, doyulur mu doyulur mu? Aşkınan bakışan göze, doyulur mu doyulur mu? Tatlı dile güler yüze, doyulur mu doyulur mu? Aşkınan bakışan göze, doyulur mu doyulur mu? Doyulur mu doyulur mu? Canana kıyılır mı cananına? Kıyanlar hakkın kulu sayılır mı? Doyulur mu doyulur mu? Canana kıyılır mı cananına? Kıyanlar hakkın kulu sayılır mı? Zülüflerin dökse öze, yar badeyi sunsa bize, leblerime yememeze, doyulur mu doyulur mu? Zülüflerin dökse öze, yar badeyi sunsa bize, leblerime yememeze, doyulur mu doyulur mu? Doyulur mu doyulur mu? Canana kıyılır mı? Canana kıyanlar hakkın kulu sayılır mı? Doyulur mu doyulur mu? Canana kıyılır mı? Cananına kıyanlar hakkın kulu sayılır mı? Garibim geldik gitmeye, muhabbetimiz bitmeye, yar ile sohbet etmeye, doyulur mu doyulur mu? Garibim geldik gitmeye, muhabbetimiz bitmeye, yar ile sohbet etmeye, doyulur mu doyulur mu? Doyulur mu doyulur mu? Canana kıyılır mı? Doyulur mu doyulur mu? Canana kıyılır mı? Doyulur mu doyulur mu? Canana kıyılır mı? Cananına kıyanlar hakkın kulu sayılır mı? Garibim geldik gitmeye, muhabbetimiz bitmeye, yar ile sohbet etmeye, doyulur mu doyulur mu? Yes, bu da böyle bir şarkımızdı. This is a nice Neşet Ertaş song about loving someone and you cannot get enough of them. Yes. Hello, Maitaro, welcome. I'm gonna be singing a few more songs by him, but they're not all gonna be so fast. Let's bring down the rhythm a little bit. Yeah, so summer is here. I hope everyone is enjoying it. I'm gonna be talking about some news today. But let's first set something straight. Sorry, yeah. Something very important for Turkey took place last week. You may or may not have heard of it. A comedian was arrested. Like, he has been the talk of the day since like 2 weeks. He recorded this amazing, super interesting stand-up show that he had been repeating for a while. He put it on YouTube. And the thing is, in that stand-up, he said so many things that you cannot really say these days in Turkey, or like you cannot really say them since like quite many years. And the mere fact that he was able to say these things in public, like it was so surprising after a long time. So many of us who heard him speaking, we were like, wow. I remember, like, I knew his name, but I hadn't watched his shows. And I listened to a reel by him, a short video from this now widely known, widely watched stand-up show, and I was like, someone saying these things out in public? Wow, like, wow. And everybody was talking about this for a while, and then, as expected, he got arrested. But the thing is, as part of the stand-up show, he was already explaining how he expected to be arrested, how he did part of these things with the expectation to be arrested. Like, he was explaining that he comes from a family who is quite communist, like leftist communist, from the, he has grown up in an environment where being arrested or definitely persecuted or even killed by your views makes you a respectable person. Therefore, he, of course, in between jokes and lots of humor, he explained how he was actually doing what he's doing with that expectation. And then it was kind of surprised that he wasn't arrested all of the time, that he was not arrested. He had actually gone abroad and he was supposed to come back. And when he came back, he was gotten in the airport. Like, they seized him in the airport, and now he's in a prison. He will probably stay there for a while. Personally, I understand what he did, because a comedian and a stand-up artist, they need material. So many people like him at some point go to exile because they don't want to be arrested. They want to, be able to keep roaming. But then what happens is that they lose their inspiration. I've seen it with so many musicians, definitely with politicians and journalists. And most of the time, your material is your environment, it's your country. And for a lot of people who live in one language zone, or who converse in a single language, or who do what they do in one main language, going to exile might mean intellectual death or artistic death. I'm not gonna name them now, but I've seen so many artists going through this situation, this phase, like losing their inspiration and therefore their relevance after going to exile. So a comedian does not want to do this. I mean, it's very understandable to not want to do this. Exile is not easy. Oftentimes, people who are persecuted in their own countries or who find a hard time living in their own countries tend to accuse those who are in exile. They tend to accuse those who are in diaspora because they have the assumption that life is easier in exile, but it is some kind of, it's like being a fish out of the water. And it was really impressive that he did not do it, but instead chose to go to prison in his own country and did this whole thing knowingly, like knowing that he would be arrested and put in prison for a long time. And what he did was to break the threshold of fear for the whole country. So a lot of things became sayable in Turkey all of a sudden. Also because, it's comedy, there's humor in it, so like, the way all of these things are said, are naive. And, you know, it's jokey. It was also very sweet. He's a smart guy. He has understood quite well the nerve endings of Turkey and how they work. So, yeah, everybody loved him. The love feels a bit exaggerated. Like, it's really interesting how someone can become so loved all of a sudden. It's also scary because if you can become so much loved all of a sudden, you can also become so much hated all of a sudden. So these things are tricky. But it doesn't matter for him now because he's in prison and he's gonna be there for a while. And actually, I found that it makes a lot of sense from his side, not because it will bring him on the same level with all of these public figures that he grew up admiring, because he grew up in a leftist family and leftism has been persecuted in Turkey since generations now. But also because he needs material, you know. A stand-up show is repetitive. You make the same jokes over and over again, and you need to be able to find new ones. So I believe he will benefit from his prison term by finding new jokes. I told you this story now because of two things. Because it's the most important news in Turkey since the last 2 weeks. Everybody is talking about this guy, and everybody is talking about him admiringly. And another thing is that the classical trope of insulting the religion has come up once again. It was a very popular accusation throughout the 90s, you know, insulting our religion, insulting people's sensitivities, and showing disregard and disrespect to a religion that a lot of people seem to be following. So the same argument is being used again, though it feels very comical this time. And even though it feels very comical this time, there is a very, very small part of the society who can get really triggered by this, and those few people can actually be dangerous. Even though I feel like the de-Islamification of Turkey has come to such a point that it won't be easy this time to trigger these nerve endings, because it's not the same anymore. And also, yeah, for me it was good to see the limits. It was good to see the threshold of fear being transgressed by so many people all at once. You know, people all of a sudden started sharing online things that were very dangerous, that were considered very dangerous before, such as this incident when Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the current president of Turkey, when he was the mayor of Istanbul, his son killed someone. He killed a pedestrian while he was driving without a driving license. And this incident was completely covered up when this guy was just the mayor of Istanbul, mind you. It was long before he became president and gathered all of the powers that a country can offer. He was just a mayor at the time, and supposedly an opposition mayor at that. So supposedly he didn't have so many supporters within the government, the local or the central government, but he was still able to very successfully cover up a murder that was clearly committed by his son, and he had managed to make this incident forgotten. So now this incident has come, you know, it's being talked about right now on social media and everywhere. So this thing that people were scared to mention or to discuss is now being spoken about openly. What does it change? Does it change anything? I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, generally it feels like whatever people can talk about does not make a big difference in the formation of power in our countries these days. Or maybe there are some thresholds that we don't know about and they might be crossed someday. I don't know. We will see. But yeah, this was the news. Hey Faizudan, merhaba. You welcome. Yeah. So here, this was some news, and now we go back to some Neşet Ertaş. Yeah. I actually, some of you may remember, I started doing this show in September. Actually, until September last year, I was trying to not be very visible online and maybe in person as well. And now I understand that this had to do with a certain kind of fear. It had to do with a certain kind of fear, which I have overcome until since then. But yeah, I will tell you about this. First, I want to fix the baseline. Yeah. So fear is generally something that you overcome, or you stay in it for a long time. I remember having read in Sarah Ahmed's book about emotions, the social formation of emotions. I don't exactly remember the name. Sarah Ahmed is a queer British, but of Pakistani origin, I think. In any way, she's not white. She has a skin color that's not white. I don't know what they call it in England. And queer, and she comes from this tradition of literary critique that works on emotions. And she has written this book that assesses emotions, not all of them together, one by one, and also by discussing the mechanisms of how emotions work. There's a lot to say about this book, but I remember this one thing about fear. How fear is basically like it's a feeling that does not really have an object. The object of fear is something that is not there. It passes. It might pass us by. The fear is about something we may not see, we may not be able to see. It's a possibility, it's not an actuality. And this is quite really how it functions, you know. When you're afraid of something, you want to avoid a possibility. But then when a possibility that you really want to avoid happens, when it takes place, then you cross the threshold of fear, because fear cannot really have an object. When it has an object, the feeling disappears. It becomes something else. Like it becomes aggressivity, it becomes rage. But fear does not stay there. So from a negative situation, it turns into a positive situation. Like I think it was Spinoza who said that there are emotions that make you, emotions that make you larger, that make you want to grow and want to act towards the outside world. And then there are emotions that reduce your powers, such as hatred, such as fear. And this is the thing with fear, like when the thing that you are scared of happens to you, when it finally befalls you, then fear disappears, because if you know what it is to fear about, if you know where the source of the fear is, then you don't have to be scared anymore, because then you know what it is to expect. So looking at it from this perspective now, I noticed that I overcame my own fears. About a year ago, my sister died in an accident. It was a very sudden and tragic loss. Of course, every loss is tragic. Every young death is very, very sad. But the thing with these incidents is that when you look at them from outside, they all look similar. You know, someone dies and the people around them are just very upset and they're grieving for a while. But then when it happens to you, it's unique because you are unique. Like, I am me. I only had one biological sister, and she died on a specific date, which was, by the way, exactly a year ago. And the transformation that this brings to you is very unique. How you assess and deal with the incident is very unique. So what it did to me was that I was like, okay, this is horrible, but this is also what I had been scared of, like all my life, you know, death. Because you can say that beneath every fear, like behind every fear, is the fear of death. But then, when it happened to me, when it happened to us, one thing that I felt transform within myself was the feeling in my belief in my own specialty. Like, I really did believe that I was a super lucky subject because, you know, because of a lot of things. But I used to think that bad things cannot happen to me because you tend to think this way until they do happen to you. So I lost my sense of being a very special, privileged subject of this universe, but I also kind of somehow lost the fear of death in a way. Of course, that's an exaggeration. You can never really stop fearing death. It is the thing to fear. But remembering how happily she lived and how she had realized herself before her premature passing, I realized that there are worse things in life than death, and desires that you have not realized is pretty bad. Living with fear is pretty bad because it keeps you small. Life does not go on for a long time anyway. We will all get there where the dead are. We will all become dead, just like we were unborn at a certain point. This world is a place from which we pass, and yeah, I don't know if I was able to explain it. It's like it's a very sad subject, so I don't really find it easy to talk about all the time. But yeah. So yeah, I started doing this show and I started using the social media more often because I was like, I have so many things to say, and if I die now, nobody will have heard them. And then why should I keep myself small because I'm scared of something happening? After all, the worst thing that can happen, I have an idea of what it might be, and you die once. It's nice to live with courage. Just like my sister and her soulmate Alex used to do before their premature passing. When you look at things from this perspective, there is something fake about this world anyway. And it's something that you get to realize when you start to take death seriously and unseriously at the same time. Like when you meet it from a closer perspective. It's that this world is an image. It is superficial. It is a place that the wishes are not often fulfilled and desires cannot be realized. It is a world where we expect justice to take place, but it doesn't. In this world, justice is a human need, it's a human feeling. It's not something that exists in nature. And the mere fact of the world being such an unjust, unfair place has been taken as evidence of its fakeness by a lot of people throughout history and throughout literature. And I'm gonna sing a song by Neşet Ertaş that talks about these facts. Yalan Dünya. I've been able to laugh in this fake world that spent my life for nothing, that faked a smile to my face, that cheated me, that fooled me, and which in the end lost its colors in my eyes. Hep sen mi ağladın, hep sen mi yandın, ben de gülemedim yalan dünyada. Hep sen mi ağladın, hep sen mi yandın, ben de gülemedim yalan dünyada. To fix something before I start singing. Let's see how this goes. Hep sen mi ağladın, hep sen mi yandın, ben de gülemedim yalan dünyada. Let's see. These songs are actually pretty basic 2-chord songs, and it makes it difficult to find the right tone in them. Hep sen mi ağladın, hep sen mi yandın, ben de gülemedim yalan dünyada. Hep sen mi ağladın, hep sen mi yandın, ben de gülemedim yalan dünyada. Sen beni gönlünce mutlu mu sandın, ömrümü boş yere çalan dünyada. Sen beni gönlünce mutlu mu sandın, ömrümü boş yere çalan dünyada. Ah yalan dünyada, yalan dünyada, yalandan yüzüme gülen dünyada. Ah yalan dünyada, yalan dünyada, yalandan yüzüme gülen dünyada. Sen ağladın canım, ben ise yandım. Dünyayı gönlümce olacak sandım. Sen ağladın canım, ben ise yandım. Dünyayı gönlümce olacak sandım. Boş yere aldandım, boşuna kandım, boş gözümde solan dünyada. Boş yere aldandım, boşuna kandım, rengi gözümde solan dünyada. Ah yalan dünyada, yalan dünyada. Yalandan yüzüme gülen dünyada. And then you can accept that the world is fake anyway, and if the world is fake, and if you can also manage to believe that there is another world, like another realm, the one from where we come and where we go, like if you can manage to build some sort of belief about it, then indeed this world can seem like the samsara. The samsara is the concept from Hinduism or Buddhism, not sure really, but it is the concept that says it's the opposite of nirvana. It is the name for this fake world where desires cannot be realized, where everything is an appearance, where essences cannot be reached and cannot be found. And we are all sent here for something. Some believe that we are sent here because we have to learn, we have to accumulate certain experiences, to speak with the parlance of today. And we come to this world until we gather them. And indeed, seeing the world in this way helps. It helps contextualize and make sense of it, because it doesn't look like there is any meaning to it. Yeah, so this was Yalan Dünya. Yeah, it's getting cold. The thing with this region around Ohrid is that it's actually quite a cold place. So now I'm getting cold. Yeah, so what else to say? I don't know. Yeah, so that this was this is somehow the story of how I started doing these sessions and how I started doing the videos that I now publish on social media. I feel like the process of losing your fear and seeing the fake world for what it is, it does not stop. And actually, the more you do, like the more you make, the more you carry out, the more fake and superficial the world becomes in your eyes. But at the same time, you start to find meaning in it, because humans live in it, and non-humans as well, you know, cats, trees, fish, ants, spiders. They all make this world quite an interesting place. And there's nothing else but them. Like, if you want to find whatever kind of meaning, any kind of meaning, this is what you can find it in. Or a rock, you know, or the sea, or some clouds. So the world might be fake, but it is the only thing that we have. And I will take the risk of sounding cheesy here. I believe that it is important to approach the world with love instead of the feelings of hatred or rage or fear. Because of all the feelings that humans have the capacity to feel, love is the one that makes you really grow, and that makes it possible to understand other people and to actually expand your horizons, to find magic in this world. Because when you love someone or something, you open yourself to their possibilities and to their horizons and to their reality. And this is where any kind of expansion and any kind of magic can be found, in my opinion. Like, I'm thinking a lot about this today because you know, this comedian that I just mentioned, he was arrested because of 80 million people in Turkey, and of the 10 million who watched his show online, 180 were disturbed enough to report him to the presidency. Now the Turkish presidency has a hotline of reporting any kind of crime, because it's a centralized system, and in order to get something done, you have to reach the presidency directly, so there's a hotline. So 180 people have called the hotline in a population of more than 10 million. So the number is very, very few. But this small number is enough to, you know, since there is a center of power out there who wants to take the opportunity to persecute and to show others that some lines cannot be crossed, they take it as an excuse. This 1 in 10,000, is it 1 in 10,000? So 0.01% of the population is disturbed, but they can become a basis for persecution. And sometimes in social media I feel similar, you know. I still get to meet a lot of amazing people, and I have some very nice conversations. I learn a lot, and I like to think that I make other people think by the things that I'm sharing, or during this show by the thoughts and the ideas that I'm sharing. I like to think that I'm contributing positively. And the truth is that most of the interactions are positive, and a lot of people are telling me that I do contribute positively to them. But then there are these very few instances, very rare instances, that people approach you very negatively. They will say quite bad things. They might sometimes even call for you to be hurt or to be killed. In my case, not me personally, but the group that I belong to. And even though these people are very, very few, the ugliness of their reactions and the negativity of their feelings makes you feel like the whole world out there is very bad and it is looking to hurt you. It's important not to give in to this feeling. So this is something I'm trying to remind myself lately, that no matter how much it's always a good idea to try and focus on the positive feelings around you and on the love and expansion that you are bringing to people. And one has to find ways to purge hatred from their soul, because it's a feeling where, you know, just a little tiny bit of it makes it so ugly, you know. If you give in to hatred Actually, I'm really amazed at how little hatred there is out there in the world. We might tend to think that people are hateful. Not really, not all of them. They all want to love. They always want to love. Nobody really wants to hate except for a small fringe minority. But we can never only just love, because the world has to have some limits. And some people will be closer to us than others. So sometimes we can fall out of people's circles of love, but most of the times we will fall within them. And it's important to remember those moments and to remember that most of the time people are good to each other. I find it hard to believe this myself. I'm really surprised that I'm saying this at the moment, because what I was thinking in the last days was, people are horrible. All of them are horrible. You know, they're exceptionally sometimes nice. But I think that's not true. I think people most of the time are really nice. And occasionally, because of specific circumstances, they will not be very nice. The problem with today's world is that those specific circumstances have become generalized. And we live in a society that produces negative feelings like fear, hatred, rage, just to keep going. And there is a nice song by Neşet Ertaş about it. I will focus more on him in the next season, like after September, when I will start these sessions again, hopefully. There are very many interesting observations about love in his songs, and this is one of them. It's about the mountain of the heart and how it flows like a flood within the heart of the poet who sings this song. And when lovers meet, it's such an incident that it opens a wound in the heart. But it's important to be invited for love. And by the way, the love that Neşet Ertaş talks about here is not romantic love. It's also not exactly friendly love. It's just, love in general. And you might love someone, but in order to go to them, you need to be invited. If you want to pick a rose from a garden, you need to make sure that everyone gives their consent. You have to have taken permission from the rose to pick it. And there are ways to take this permission, which old people knew. And from one heart to the other, there is a road that goes, but it's a hidden one. So you have to be very patient when taking it, and you have to be observant of the world around you. That's how I would translate this poem as much as possible. Gönülde yağmur yağmur boran olunca akar can özümde sel gizli gizli bir tenhada can cananı bulunca sinem yaralar yaroy yaroy yaroy yaroy yaroy yar dil gizli gizli dil gizli gizli Sinem yaralar yaroy yaroy yaroy yaroy yaroy yar. Dil gizli gizli, dil gizli gizli. Dost elinden gel olmazsa varılmaz. Rızasız bahçenin gülü derilmez. Kalpten kalbe bir yol vardır görülmez. Gönülden gönüle gider yaroy yaroy yaroy yaroy yar. Yol gizli gizli, yol gizli gizli. Gönülden gönüle gider yaroy yaroy yaroy yaroy yar. Yol gizli gizli, yol gizli gizli. And after the last verse of this song, I'll be saying goodbye to you for this season, and I will be saying happy summer holidays. Yeah, it feels strange not to say see you next week. See you in September, hopefully, in good health and good mood. We all need a break. Seher vakti garip garip bülbül öterken, kirpiklerin ok ok yara batarken, cümle alem uykusunda yatarken, kimseler görmeden yaroy yaroy yaroy yaroy yaroy yar. Gel gizli gizli, gel gizli gizli. Kimseler görmeden yaroy yaroy yaroy yaroy yaroy yar. Gel gizli gizli, gel gizli gizli. And some things of the heart are better kept secret, the song says. I'm still to decide. I think it's an undecidable question, whether people are good or bad. It's one of the oldest questions of philosophy and of religion, whether people are good or bad. We will see. You will see. I hope this summer you will be thinking that the people are nice and good, and the world is nice even if it is a fake place, and we are only in passage here, but a passage that lasts a lifetime, be it long or be it